Make the mundane magical with Starlight Witch.
What's up, witches? Starlight out at night, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a challenge tag thing. Blah blah blah. Yes. Tags. YouTube tags. Ooh. Yeah. This one is going to be the before and after The Witch of 2020. That was created by, I believe, Moondancer, and her channel will be linked below, or in the thing, in the corner of the thing, whatever. Basically, it's kind of like a reflective type of tag, so I'm going to be answering the questions today. So, question 1 is, how long have you been a witch, practitioner, or whatever you go by? My answer is since I was 14, so around 2012 was when I began my research. I didn't really start properly practicing until I was about 15, so 2013. So I'd say I've been a witch for around 8 years, currently 22, and well, that's to say that I've always been a witch, I just discovered it at age 14. Question 2 is, what resources did you mainly learn from back then? My answer is I got my hands on a few books here and there, but mostly online research and YouTube, which is still what I use because it's great. Question 3, how have resources changed since you started with your chosen path? Are they worse or better, and how? So my answer to that one is I'd say there's a lot more resources to choose from now, but you also have to be a bit more mindful that witchcraft has become kind of like a fashion trend type of thing, so you have to take more info with a pinch of salt. So basically, like, there's more options to choose from than I had about 8 years ago, but I mean, there was still quite a lot out there, like, back then, and there were some very, very good people back then as well. But yeah, the actual resources are probably a little bit more like fashion based, with how like witchcraft and occult stuff has kind of become like a trend, which is kind of sad because there are some of us that genuinely do like practice witchcraft and it does enhance our lives. So if those people that thought of it as like a fashion trend actually started, then they might actually help themselves. I digress. Question 4. Did you expect to be where you are today in your craft? My answer to that one, not really. I'm not sure what I expected, but I know it wasn't this. I have branched out a lot more than I could ever have dreamed back then, learned more, and I'm so happy with how my path turned out, and I can't wait to see where it leads next. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing like today in my craft, like I never thought I'd be having a YouTube channel that was based on witchcraft. Like, no, I learned from other people that did that. I was never going to be one of them. And yet, here you all are, all of my wonderful, wonderful subscribers that actually give a shit about what I think. Thanks. So, yeah, did not expect to be where I am today in my path. Didn't expect to have included this much shadow work stuff, this much fae stuff, this much, like, herbal knowledge. I didn't expect to have, like, this level of craftiness that I have now, and I didn't expect to be a leader in the Amino, Hatchling Clan Amino, which is kind of badass, so link is in the description, come join us. Question 5. What's one of the best things you've learned since you started the path? How to connect with myself, my true and authentic self, and live the life that version of myself would be proud of. So I use my path and my craft as a way to just express myself fully and to heal anything and connect with the trueness of like the being that is me. And anything that is doing that is basically witchcraft to me, because witchcraft to me is just doing the stuff that makes me me, pretty much. So if I'm doing any form of healing, even just like having a cup of tea in a shower, if it makes me feel connected to myself and connected to the world around me, that's my craft, that's my path. So Question 6. What is something you want to learn that you have still yet to do? My big dream, like my ultimate witchy dream that I'm still yet to achieve, is become a high priestess of my own coven, because that would be so cool, and I really want to do that. And Fringe, what are you doing? Come on now. But yeah, would love to be a high priestess of my own coven. That would be amazing. But like a small goal would be to learn how to do palmistry, because that is a form of divination that I'm really, really curious about, especially to be able to like do that for others as well as myself, and see like what your hands mean. Because I had a book on it a while ago, but last time I moved I had to get rid of it because I had way too many books and I couldn't bring them all with me, so that one hadn't touched in ages and just kind of had to go. Was ready to release that one, but I would still like to learn about it, and I'd like to learn about it from someone who actually knows what they're doing, rather than and like who can show me and tell me, like physically tell me, rather than read it from a book and then forget it about a week later. Question 7. What would you say is your greatest magical accomplishment since you started out? Wow. Biggest accomplishment? Mastering the art of the quick spell and the no tools manifestation, and trusting myself and my intuition and honing my skills. So, like, the greatest thing that I've been able to do is just like on the fly kind of spellcraft, just manifestation, like learning how to properly manifest exactly what I want, even if it's like a roundabout way of how to get it. Like what I want is like what I want, and that's gonna come to me either way, even if it's not always in the way I expect. But yeah, so manifestation and like the art of the quick kind of like on the fly kind of spell is my thing, and I'm proud to have been able to have mastered that, because it's like kind of a key of my craft, and if I can do that, then I can do a lot of other stuff, and that makes me happy. So, question 8. What would you say is your worst magical mistake or mishap since you started out? Whew. You're gonna love this answer. No, it's a bit gossipy, but my past, so. Binding myself to an ex-boyfriend by entering into a magical contract and agreement with his mother without realising. That was... yeah, bad Starlight. Very, very bad Starlight. Basically what happened, my ex was fairly emotionally abusive and manipulative, and just like all round toxic for me. Might grow up to be a great guy, but for me in that time, in that relationship, for those 2.5 years, was just toxic. Ugh. So yeah, what happened was he was having a bit of a downer time, and I was visiting my auntie who lived in the same area as his mum. So I went to see his mum on my own without him there, because we got on better than they did, and his family loved me. It was great. But yeah, he was going through a bit of a rough patch, and I was talking about that to his mum, and she basically said, like, stay with him, look after him for me, won't you? And I promised that I would, and in that moment I actually meant it, and I think that kind of like bound me to him as like a contract to his mum to like make sure that I took care of him, and that just wouldn't let me leave once it got really, really bad. So yeah, don't do that. Don't make promises you can't keep, because there is power in words, and I learned that the hard way. So learn from my mistakes, kids. Don't enter into a magical contract that you don't actually want to be in. It's not good. It's not fun. Question number 9. Did your family and friends approve of your chosen path back then, and what about now? So friends have never had any issues. They've always been like super accepting. I've had some issues in the past with certain family members. Some have come around and support me now, but older relatives have been like die-hard Christians all their lives. They still kind of worry about me. So the main one was my auntie, when she saw my Book of Shadows when I was in university, like first year of uni, was still had a pentacle on the front, and I had a load of tarot cards and stuff just on my desk when she came to visit, and she was like, isn't that kind of like Satan-y worshipy stuff? And then I took her into a crystal shop, and looked at all the like witchy books and tarot cards, and I kind of explained, it's like, this is what it's about, this is what I do, I just do healing stuff, like I'm just like discovering myself, that's all it is to me. Not worshipping the devil, not sacrificing anything, I promise. And since then she's kind of been really supportive, and she even asks about it now. But my great aunts, who have been the die-hard Christians their entire lives, I accidentally sent one of my videos to her, which was the We Are Strong one, the kind of like pandemic panic kind of based one. And the actual message of the video is great, but it started with "What's up, witches?" like all of my videos do, and my YouTube name is literally Starlight Witch. So she phoned my mum in a panic and thought that I had joined some kind of cult, which I haven't. I really haven't, promise. Not that she's watching this video because it would terrify her, but still. So yeah, I've got some family members that still worry about me that I don't really talk about it to. But other than that, I am just unapologetically myself. I don't hide who I am from anybody, but I won't bring it up if they don't ask. So there's a difference between not hiding who you are and shoving it in people's faces. So if I'm asked about it, then I'm not going to lie about it, but if not, then I just won't bring it up, and there's no issues. Question number 10. Are you happy where you are in your practice today? Why or why not? Absolutely. I'm very, very pleased. So pleased with the experience and knowledge I've gained, but I know that my craft is always growing and there will always be more to learn. So basically, where I am in my craft right now is I know that that's where I need to be. I have the knowledge that I need to have, and I have the excitement to learn what I need to learn for the future. And I know that I've been doing this for about 8 years, but in my eyes I'm like still basically a baby witch compared to what I will be when I'm 50 and I've practiced my whole life. Because the amount of knowledge and just experience and like knowledge of myself that I would have gained by then, I'm like really looking forward to that. That should be fun. Number 11? Question 11. Did anything surprise you about where you are in your practice today? Yes, actually. How balanced it is. My younger days were super love and light, but now I accept the need for the darker magic and use both whenever relevant. So what I mean by that is, like, it doesn't mean that I'm like super like black magic-y kind of thing, because magic is just a force of energy and it's the practitioner that's like light or dark. But there is such thing as shadow work, and I do that a lot. And I just kind of see the need for balance, because without light there would be no darkness, and without darkness there would be no light. Or at least we wouldn't be able to see it. So if there was no bad times, then we wouldn't be able to appreciate how good things are. And if there was no good times, we wouldn't kind of understand the bad. We wouldn't like understand ourselves, because we wouldn't grow through anything. We wouldn't like, that's what the bad times bring us as lessons. So we wouldn't grow, and we wouldn't progress in any way. So I understand the need for both, which is I kind of consider myself just like an eclectic witch, but I would say I'm kind of grey in the like spell kind of area. Like I wouldn't do any kind of like hexes or curses or anything like that unless it was last resort, absolutely necessary in my eyes. But like even with that abusive ex that I mentioned earlier, like I could have cursed him, I could have hexed the absolute hell out of him, but I do believe that there is a return on anything you put out. So I tried to take the high road and stay with positive, which I will always try to do. I'll always try and stay within the light, unless it's with like soul searching kind of stuff, then I see the need for shadows. But yeah, when it comes to actually magic and practicing, I try and keep it light, but I understand there is a need for the darkness, and that's what brings balance to my craft. And I was super like healing only, love and light, and like everything like that when I first started. So I've embraced myself and my shadows quite a lot, so I'm quite proud of that. Number 12. What were you best at in your practice when you started out? What are you best at now? So when I started, I was good with my psychic abilities and mediumship. So like talking to spirits and deities and like ancestors, and like all the clair abilities, so like clairaudience and clairvoyance and all that kind of stuff. The only one I've kept from that I like really use all the time now is my claircognizance, which is clear knowing, which is basically I just get random energy downloads of like things I have no way of knowing, and I suddenly know with a certainty. So that's what I was really good at then, was all the psychic abilities and things like that, because I practiced them all the time. I kind of stopped doing that, so now I'm really good at spellcasting and manifestation, which I kind of mentioned earlier. Question 13. What kind of changes, if any, are you planning to make within your practice this year? I never really plan changes, to be honest. I just kind of go with it. I just gain interest in something new and follow that, but I guess learn even more about myself and maybe like fae and dragons and stuff like that, because there's always more to learn and I'm very interested in those topics. I'd like to learn about like Japanese mythology, seeing as I'm going to be living there soon. I'd like to learn about the deities and like the yokai and the sprites and things like that that kind of exist within that mythology. Very interested in that. I'd like to learn more about that. Number 14. If you could go back and do things differently with your practice, would you? Why or why not? No, would not do anything differently. I've gone through everything I have for a reason and I'm happy with the result. Basically. Because if I were to go back and do anything differently, like anything at all with my life, I live with no regrets in the sense that if I were to go back and do anything differently, like at all, it would send a ripple effect through my life and I wouldn't be where I am now, and I'm super happy with where I am now, with who I am and like the direction my life is going in, so would not change a thing. No regrets, absolutely none. And the last one, question 15, is altogether, how has your practice changed you as a person, and describe how? So what I've written down is it's made me more confident and sure of myself, more connected to myself, others and the planet. It's made me see the magic in the mundane, has gotten me through some rough situations and helped others go from good to awesome. So it's helped other situations go from good to awesome and help me through the bad ones. Helped me understand myself and live my best life in my truth, accepting myself and others as we are. So yeah, it's basically just my craft is connecting to myself and healing myself and just growing myself as a person, and like that's how it's changed me. It's made me more accepting of myself and other people. It's made me kind of see like the magic in the everyday life kind of things, and it's made me realise that we are more connected than people realise. So anything that happens to me is a reflection of an expression of the universe, and it's if anyone judges me or anything, it's not really me they're judging, it's like a reflection of themselves and things like that. So I've learned how to take things so personally when it comes to other people and judgment and whatnot, and yeah, it's just helped me be a better person. I'm always happier when I've been like researching and practicing and meditating and things like that. So I'm pretty sure, like, my family don't really know they don't ask about it generally, but yeah, anytime I've been able to get out into nature and connect with myself and just self-exploration and things like that is like what my craft is all about. So when I've been doing that, they're kind of able to see that I'm happier, even though they don't know what it is that's made me happier. So yeah, I'd say there's a definite difference, and it has made me a better person, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that my experiences and my knowledge and stuff can be passed on to you, lovely people, and that you are actually learning something, because I'm learning something from you, you're learning something from me. It's like equal exchange here. It's good, it's good. Got to learn about ourselves and each other and acceptance and love and one love, and yeah. So on that note, I think that wraps up this video. Be unapologetically you, no shame, and I will see you in the next one.